So we're jumping back into Alan Bates' testimony to the Post Office Horizon IT inquiry and the introduction of the Horizon computer system into his post office branch, and also he describes how the initial experience that he'd had with other electronic point of sale systems and the reporting didn't match up to his expectations for what would be available in Horizon, in that he expected to be able to resolve any apparent shortfalls or overages by looking at the data, but the reports simply weren't available to him. Let's jump into the inquiry.
Can we turn to the introduction of the Horizon system into your branch? And can we go to your inquiry witness statement, please, at page 5?
Well, this should be interesting because he said before that he was quite looking forward to the introduction of the Horizon system and saw the benefit of technology, electronic point of sale technology, because he'd used it in his previous jobs.
Paragraph 14, you tell us that in October 2000, the Post Office introduced Horizon at my branch and imposed upon me the requirement that I use it to record transactions at the branch and to submit branch accounts. To the best of my recollection, Horizon was installed from the 2nd of October 2000. I remember the branch was closed around this time to allow for this.
Presumably the post office offered Subpostmasters compensations for the day's trade that they had to lose?
Horizon installed under 2 years after you took up the position of Subpostmaster of this office.
Correct.
And then scroll down to 15, please. You say, I didn't have any involvement in discussions about the introduction of Horizon. I had no choice but to accept and accommodate this variation. Obviously, this was also a huge change in how I operated the branch, as many of the previous processes that I'd been trained on and had operated at the branch were made obsolete, not only for me, but also for my assistants.
So hopefully in that case the post office offered comprehensive training on their new Horizon system.
Paragraph 16, please. You say, when Horizon was introduced, given my background with electronic point of sale systems, I regarded the introduction of Horizon at first as a positive innovation. And you've told us that in summary this morning. However, I did not expect there to be any apparent discrepancies shown on the system that I was unable to identify the cause of and resolve, either by myself or with support or information from Post Office Limited. Certainly, I did not expect discrepancies to occur for which the Post Office would try and hold me liable without the cause being investigated and established. To that point, I'd been preparing accounts manually using the capture system.
And again, it's just the hallmark of good business, isn't it? Know what you're saying, be able to prove what you're saying, and so that you've actually got a firm grip on the business. I mean, running the business is more than just taking the plaudits, the fancy title, and the sackfuls of cash.
Just going back to what you say on the previous page, you say in the third line, I didn't expect there to be any apparent discrepancies shown on the system that you were unable to identify the cause of and resolve. What do you mean by that?
Well, I expected to be able to track down any transaction that I'd undertaken, myself or my staff had undertaken at the branch. One way or another. There are a variety of ways of interrogating systems and the data on the systems, and I presumed that the system would enable you to do that at the outset. But, I mean, in previous roles, before Post Office, I'd use something like crystal reports on software packages to extract information using certain parameters in there. But there was very little flexibility in Horizon, as I saw it at that time, for reports that you could control the parameters of your searches for. There were a set of reports, don't get me wrong, there were a set that were already built into the system, but they were quite restrictive in there, and it did seem to cause problems.
And, it would be good to allow Subpostmasters access to comprehensive reporting systems, and indeed any users of enterprise software access to such reports, because then if there are mistakes or issues, they can track down the cause and help you fix it. Reduces your workload as an organization. It's a win-win all around. It's what the users of the system want, and it reduces the burden on the main organization.
And we see this as a feature in the correspondence that we're going to turn to a little later today, and a constant theme that you pursued, i.e. the visibility of transactions and the auditability of transactions from a Subpostmaster's perspective was lacking in the Horizon system. Is that correct?
Very much so, yeah.